The numbers don't lie. Marriage rates are at historic lows. Younger men especially are saying no thanks to the altar at rates that should terrify anyone paying attention. But here's what's really happening. It's not that men can't find wives. It's that they've done the math, looked at the deal being offered, and decided walking away is the smartest move they can make. Some women keep asking, where have all the good men gone? While men are screaming the answer, we left on purpose and we're not coming back. Let me explain why men have given up on marriage and why some women refuse to understand the message. The decline of marriage among men isn't some temporary trend, it's an exodus. In 1970, 85% of men aged 25 to 39 were married. Today, it's under 40% and dropping fast. Younger men especially are looking at marriage like previous generations looked at chain smoking, something their fathers did that destroyed them, and they're not repeating the mistake. The perception of an unfair legal system isn't paranoia, it's pattern recognition. When 70% of divorces are initiated by women, when men lose custody 85% of the time, when alimony can last decades for marriages that lasted years, men see this. They watch their brothers, fathers, friends get destroyed in family court and think, why would I sign up for that? Had a client whose wife cheated, left him for the other guy, and he still had to pay her alimony for 5 years. She literally betrayed him and got paid for it. His 23-year-old son watched this happen and swore off marriage completely. Can you blame him? He saw his faithful father financially destroyed by an unfaithful mother and the system that enabled her. Marriage has become high risk with low reward for many men. What's the upside? Regular sex? That often stops after the wedding. Companionship? You can have that without a contract. Children? You can lose them in divorce anyway. Love? Love doesn't require government paperwork. But the downside? Losing half your assets, paying alimony, restricted access to your kids, false accusations that ruin your reputation. The risk-reward calculation just doesn't work. Men feel blamed regardless of what happens in relationships. If she cheats, he must have neglected her. If he leaves, he's abandoning his family. If she leaves, he must have driven her away. If the marriage fails, it's because he didn't try hard enough. There's no scenario where the man isn't somehow at fault. This presumption of male guilt is exhausting. The emotional labour expectations are completely one-sided. Men are expected to be their partner's therapist, cheerleader, provider, protector, and emotional punching bag. But express your own needs, stop being needy, share your struggles, be stronger, ask for support, man up. Men are expected to be emotional service stations while running on empty themselves. I see this constantly. Men withdrawing from people who disrespected them earlier. These are men who were ignored in their 20s, mocked for being too nice, rejected for not being exciting enough. Now they're successful, stable, and those same people suddenly find them attractive. But these men remember. They remember being treated as invisible, and they're not interested in being someone's retirement plan. One client told me about running into his high school crush at 35. She ignored him completely back then, even laughed when he asked her out. Now she's divorced with 3 kids, messaging him constantly about how mature he's become. He showed me the messages. Pure desperation disguised as interest. He blocked her. She had her chance when I actually cared, he said. Modern dating incentivizes men to opt out entirely. Why compete for attention from someone who thinks they deserve a CEO while offering nothing but expectations? Why invest time and money in people who see you as entertainment until something better comes along? Why pursue relationships when staying home with your hobbies is more peaceful and fulfilling? Some women express loneliness while simultaneously criticizing men. The same social media post will say, "I can't find a good man," and "men are trash," in consecutive sentences. They wonder why they're alone while broadcasting exactly why men avoid them. It's like putting up a help wanted sign while actively insulting every applicant. I saw a dating profile recently. Woman in her late 30s, 3 kids, demanding a man over 6 feet 2 inches, making 6 figures, no kids of his own, must love travelling. Her bio ended with, "If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve my best." Men see this and choose video games instead. At least video games have clear rules and achievable objectives. Male experiences and feelings are routinely ignored or mocked. A man shares his divorce trauma? "Who hurt you?" becomes the dismissive response. A man expresses concern about false accusations. You must have something to hide. A man talks about losing his children. What did you do to deserve it? Men's pain becomes punchlines. Then people wonder why men stop sharing. The traditional values versus modern attitudes clash, creates impossible situations. Some people want a traditional provider, but won't be traditional themselves. They want chivalry while preaching equality. They want protection while claiming independence. They want the benefits of both systems with the obligations of neither. Men see through this selective traditionalism. A buddy of mine dated someone who insisted on splitting every bill 50-50 because equality. Fair enough. Then her car broke down, and suddenly he was supposed to pay for repairs because that's what men do. She wanted modern equality when it saved her money, traditional roles when it cost her money. The relationship ended when he pointed out this hypocrisy. The belief that the current gender divide can't be repaired is growing. Many men have simply accepted that the relationship between men and women is broken beyond fixing in our generation. They're not angry anymore, they're indifferent. They've moved from frustration to acceptance to complete disengagement. Men feel society punishes masculinity at every turn. Be protective? That's controlling. Be a leader? That's patriarchal. Express preferences? That's misogynistic. Have standards? That's judgmental. Every masculine trait gets reframed as toxic. Then the same critics wonder why men won't step up anymore. You can't demand men be less masculine then complain they're not masculine enough. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Men haven't stopped caring because they're afraid. They've stopped caring because they've done the cost-benefit analysis. It's not fear driving men away from marriage, it's logic. When you remove emotion and look at facts, modern marriage is a terrible investment for most men. The divorce horror stories reinforce every concern. Every man knows someone who got destroyed in divorce, lost his house to someone who cheated, pays alimony to someone who won't work, sees his kids 4 days a month if he's lucky. These aren't rare exceptions. They're common enough that every man knows multiple examples. I counselled a man who caught his wife cheating, had video evidence, text messages, everything. Court didn't care. She got the house he inherited from his parents, half his retirement, and he pays her $3,000 a month while she lives with the guy she cheated with. His crime? Getting married in a no-fault divorce state. His lesson? Never again. Some women question where all the good men went without realising men are answering clearly. They opted out. The good men are still here, they're just not participating in a system that punishes them for participating. They're not hiding, they're abstaining. They're not broken, they're making rational decisions based on observable outcomes. The confusion some women express reveals how little they understand male decision-making. Men are logical creatures. We see patterns, assess risks, calculate outcomes. When the pattern shows disaster, the risk shows danger, and the outcome shows loss. We don't need emotions to decide. The math decides for us. Young men especially are getting the message early. They're watching their parents' generation and learning. They see their divorced fathers living in studio apartments while mum kept the house. They see their uncles paying for children they barely see. They see their older brothers false accused and reputation destroyed. The lesson is clear. Don't play a rigged game. The social media age has made it worse. Men see the reality behind the curtain now. They see the group chats where their privacy gets violated. They see the dating apps where average men are invisible. They see the divorce celebrations and the took him to the cleaners posts. The mask is off, and what's underneath isn't attractive. Some men prefer peace over partnership now. They've discovered that being alone isn't lonely. It's peaceful. No criticism, no drama, no walking on eggshells. They wake up happy, go to bed stress-free, and spend weekends doing what they want. After experiencing that freedom, why would they give it up? I know men in their 40s who've never been happier. Divorced, single, thriving. They travel when they want, buy what they want, retire early because they're not funding someone else's lifestyle. They have friends, hobbies, purpose, everything except the stress of modern relationships. The men going their own way movement isn't about hatred, it's about self-preservation. These aren't men who hate women, they're men who love themselves enough to avoid bad deals. They're not angry, they're protective of their peace. They're not bitter, they're aware. The shaming tactics have lost their power completely. You're just bitter? No, I'm observant. Who hurt you? The system hurt many of us and we learned. You'll die alone. Everyone dies alone. At least I'll die with my assets intact. You're missing out. On what exactly? Statistical probability of divorce? Pass. Some people insist men are just afraid of commitment. Wrong. Men commit to careers, friendships, goals, hobbies, things that don't betray them and take half their stuff. Men aren't afraid of commitment. They're afraid of committing to a bad deal with someone who can destroy them on a whim. The provider role has become a trap. Provide too much. You're controlling with money. Don't provide enough. You're not a real man. Expect gratitude for providing. You're transactional. Stop providing. You're abandoning your responsibilities. There's no winning, only varying degrees of losing. Modern marriage offers men responsibility without authority. You're responsible for everyone's happiness but have no say in decisions. You're responsible for financial security but have no control over spending. You're responsible for fixing problems but can't identify problems without being called critical. It's accountability without power. A client described his marriage as being the CEO. But everyone else votes on every decision, and I'm the only one who faces consequences for failure. He was responsible for everything but controlled nothing. When he finally left, his ex was shocked. She thought he was happy being a servant with a salary. The dating pool quality has decreased while the demands have increased. People bring more baggage, more debt, more trauma, more children from previous relationships, but expect more money, more attention, more effort than ever. The value proposition has inverted completely. Men are tired of being success objects. Just like some women complain about being sex objects, men are tired of being valued only for their resources. Your worth isn't your salary, your height, your car, or your ability to provide. But try dating with that mindset and see how far you get. The good men haven't disappeared, they've been reclassified. The stable, reliable, caring men are now boring. The responsible, planning-oriented men are controlling. The men who want traditional relationships are outdated. Then when those same criticizers hit 35 and want stability, they wonder where those men went. Some women simultaneously want independence and provision. They want to be strong and independent when it benefits them, but traditional and protected when that benefits them. They want your money but not your opinions. They want your protection but not your leadership. The contradiction is exhausting. Men have started choosing themselves, and some people can't handle it. For generations, men sacrificed themselves for others' benefit. Now they're saying, what about my happiness? What about my peace? What about my future? And that self-prioritization is being called selfish by people who've always prioritized themselves. The marriage strike is real and growing. It's not organized or political. It's individual men making individual decisions that create a collective outcome. Each man who watches his friend get divorced and decides, not me, is a data point in a trend that's reshaping society. The response to men opting out has been telling. Instead of asking, what would make marriage attractive to men again, the response is shame, blame, and dismissal. Instead of addressing concerns, there's mockery. Instead of compromise, there's doubling down on the same attitudes that drove men away. Some people claim men are just immature or playing video games, but those video games provide achievement, progression, clear objectives, fair rules, and rewarding outcomes. Everything missing from modern relationships. Is it immaturity to choose the option that provides satisfaction over the one that provides stress? The financial reality alone justifies avoiding marriage for many. The average wedding costs $30,000. The average divorce costs $15,000 just in legal fees. Alimony, child support, asset division, a man can lose hundreds of thousands or millions. Meanwhile, staying single costs nothing and risks nothing. Young men are doing something previous generations couldn't. They're learning from others' mistakes. They have the internet, forums, videos, podcasts of older men sharing their experiences. The information asymmetry that kept men uninformed is gone. The warnings are everywhere for those willing to listen. The passport phenomenon is real. Men are looking abroad for partners, not because foreign women are submissive, but because they're feminine, appreciative, and understand reciprocity in relationships. They want partners, not opponents. They want peace, not power struggles. Some men who've given up on marriage aren't angry, they're relieved. Relieved they figured it out before it was too late. Relieved they kept their freedom. Relieved they avoided the trauma they watched others endure. The giving up isn't defeat, It's strategic withdrawal from an unwinnable battle. The cultural messages are contradictory and confusing. Be vulnerable, but not weak. Be strong, but not toxic. Be successful, but not work-focused. Be present, but not needy. Be traditional, but not outdated. Be modern, but not feminine. The mental gymnastics required are exhausting. Men's spaces for discussing these issues get shut down or shamed. When men gather to share experiences and warn each other, it's called misogyny. When men voice concerns, they're called incels. When men opt out, they're called immature. There's no acceptable way for men to say, this isn't working for us. The biological imperative argument has lost its power. Men need sex isn't the control mechanism it once was. Men have realized they don't need sex more than they need peace, financial security, and self-respect. When the cost of sex includes potential lifetime servitude, celibacy starts looking attractive. Some partners expect gratitude for basic adulting. I cooked dinner. Congratulations on feeding yourself. I cleaned the house. You mean the house you live in? I took care of the kids, your own children. Men are expected to celebrate basic responsibilities, while their contributions are seen as obligations. The realization that marriage benefits some more than others is spreading. Studies show married men were happier than single men decades ago. Now, single men report higher happiness than married men. The institution that once benefited men now actively harms them, and men have noticed. Men are building fulfilling lives without marriage. Strong friendships, engaging hobbies, meaningful careers, personal growth, travel, experiences. They're discovering that everything marriage supposedly provides can be obtained elsewhere without the risk. The "where have all the good men gone" articles are multiplying, but men have answered clearly. They're right here, living their lives, just not participating in marriage. They haven't gone anywhere, they've just gone their own way. They're not lost. They've found themselves. Some women are starting to understand, but it might be too late for this generation. The trust is broken, the risks are too high, the benefits too low. Maybe the next generation can rebuild, but for now, the message from men is clear. We're done. The marriage rate will continue declining because men have no incentive to reverse course. Why would they? The laws haven't changed, the attitudes haven't improved, the risks haven't decreased, the benefits haven't increased. Until that changes, men will continue choosing freedom over matrimony. The societal implications are massive: falling birth rates, economic shifts, social restructuring. But men didn't create this situation, they're responding to it. Don't blame men for adapting to the environment. Blame the environment that made adaptation necessary. Men aren't asking for much. Fair treatment in courts, appreciation for contribution, respect for masculinity, partnership instead of servitude, basic human dignity. But even these basics seem too much to ask in modern marriage. The message men are sending is crystal clear. Modern marriage is broken, and we refuse to be casualties of a broken system. We're not afraid of commitment, we're afraid of exploitation. We're not avoiding love, we're avoiding legal and financial destruction. Some people keep asking the same question, expecting different answers. Where are all the good men? They're protecting themselves. Why won't men commit? The risk outweighs reward. What do men want? Peace, respect, and fairness. The answers haven't changed because the problems haven't changed. The prenuptial agreement conversation reveals everything. Suggest protecting yourself legally and watch the reaction. You're planning to leave! No, I'm planning to protect myself if you leave. You don't trust me. I don't trust a system that incentivizes your betrayal. That's not romantic. Neither is divorce court. The cohabitation trap is another issue men face. Live together long enough in some places, and you're considered common law married. Don't live together? You're not serious about the relationship. Move in together. You're one argument away from false domestic violence accusations and losing your home. Men who do marry are increasingly taking protective measures. Secret bank accounts, assets in family trusts, property in relatives' names. They're not planning to leave. They're planning to survive if she does. The fact that men need escape plans from marriage tells you everything about its current state. The mental health aspect is crucial. Married men's suicide rates are concerning. The stress of being a provider while being unappreciated, the pressure of maintaining a household while being criticized, the burden of everyone's happiness while your own is ignored, it's literally killing men. Divorced men often describe a physical sensation of relief. Better sleep, lower blood pressure, decreased anxiety. Their bodies were in constant fight or flight mode during marriage. The health improvements after divorce are so dramatic that doctors notice. One client's physician asked what medication he started. It wasn't medication, it was divorce. The dating coaches and relationship experts keep pushing the same advice. Just be yourself. But yourself isn't 6 feet 2 inches with a 6-figure income. Communication is key. But she's not listening. She's waiting for her turn to criticize. Happy wife, happy life. But what about happy husband? Oh right, that doesn't rhyme, so it doesn't matter. Some men tried everything before giving up. Therapy, counselling, self-improvement, romance attempts, date nights, love languages, everything the book suggested. Nothing worked because the problem wasn't their effort. It was that their effort was never going to be enough for someone who didn't want to be satisfied. The comparison to previous generations is stark. Our grandfathers got appreciation for basic provision. They came home to peace, not problems. They were respected for their role, not resented for it. They had partners, not prosecutors. The deal has fundamentally changed, and not in men's favour. Technology has made being single easier than ever. Dating apps for casual connections without commitment, virtual reality for entertainment, online communities for social needs, food delivery, cleaning services, everything a traditional wife provided is now available via app, without the attitude. The shame of being single is disappearing for men. Bachelor used to mean failure, now it means freedom. Single used to mean unwanted, now it means selective. Alone used to mean lonely, now it means peaceful. The social programming that pushed men into marriage is breaking down. Some men are even celebrating divorce now. Divorce parties, freedom celebrations, got my life back, social media posts. They're not mourning the end of marriage, they're celebrating escape from prison. The fact that divorce feels like liberation rather than loss says everything about modern marriage. The final message is simple. Men have given up on marriage not because they've given up on love, but because marriage no longer represents love. It represents risk, potential loss, likely pain, and probable destruction. Until that changes, men will continue choosing themselves. And honestly, good for them. Choosing self-preservation over self-destruction is wisdom. Choosing peace over chaos is maturity. Choosing freedom over servitude is rationality. Men have finally learned to value themselves, and that's not a crisis, it's evolution. The future of relationships will be determined by whether society addresses men's concerns or continues dismissing them. If the dismissal continues, the exodus will accelerate. If real change happens, maybe trust can be rebuilt. But for now, men's message is clear. We're done sacrificing ourselves for a system that sees us as disposable. To the men watching this, your concerns are valid. Your fears are justified. Your decision to protect yourself is rational. Don't let anyone shame you into ignoring your instincts. The statistics support your caution. The experiences of others validate your concerns. To those who want relationships with men, listen to what men are actually saying, not what you think they're saying. Address their concerns instead of dismissing them. Understand their perspective instead of shaming it. The message is clear if you're willing to hear it. Men haven't given up on love, connection, or partnership. They've given up on a legal and social framework that punishes them for participating. They're not broken, bitter, or afraid. They're logical, protective, and aware. I want to hear from you guys. Have you given up on marriage? What made you decide it wasn't worth it? For those still considering it, what would need to change? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have the conversation society refuses to have. Because men's voices matter, men's concerns are valid, and men's choices to protect themselves are completely rational.